just 6 days to go until Liverpool kick off their new Premier League campaign at Ipswich. This afternoon, Anfield plays host to a full dress rehearsal. Arne Slot has been working with a full squad since Tuesday, and he's selected a strong lineup to face Sevilla. Alisson, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, McAllister and Diaz are all back in the starting 11. All the action gets underway in half an hour's time, and it's live on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. And if one match isn't enough for you today, do not worry. We're also bringing you the Reds' second friendly of the day and their final pre-season fixture overall. Build up to the 5 p.m. behind closed doors meeting with Sevilla's fellow La Liga side Las Palmas begins at 4:30. Welcome along to Matchday Live. If you're watching us on social media and aren't yet a subscriber to LFC TV or LFC TV Go, and you can find the details of how to sign up to watch both of today's games online at video.liverpoolfc.com. We'll get the thoughts of our two guests, Neil Mellor and Gary Gillespie, in just a second. But first, let's run through the team that Arne Slot has picked for today's 12:30 kickoff. It looks like it'll be Alisson Becker returning in goal. A back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jarell Quansah, Virgil van Dijk and Kostas Tsimikas. Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch will be in midfield, with Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz as the front three. On the bench, it's Pitaluga, Jaros, Gomez, Bajcetic, Nallo, Morton, Blur, Stevenson and Nayoni. Yeah, gentlemen, good to see you both. Here we go again. The new season is almost upon us. We've been paying close attention to the new look Liverpool. Gary, you've had a very close look at them. What do you make of what you've seen so far and what we might see today firsthand?
Well, I think I've been very impressed with the application in all the games. They've obviously won all their games, which is a bonus. Not that it matters so much in pre-season, but it's certainly, when you're playing the likes of Arsenal and the likes of Manchester United, it's something to take out of these games. I think what we've seen like so far is, under the new manager, he wants to play two holding midfield players, which is a little bit different, obviously, to the way Jurgen played. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out again today, because there's a bit of a different personnel in there. It'll be interesting to see who fulfills that role. Big players coming back, obviously, not a lot of training under their belt, but from what I saw in the three pre-season games we've seen so far, the youngsters have really proved themselves and really absolutely outstanding performances from a number of candidates, and they will be pushing very, very strongly to get in that starting 11 against Ipswich next week.
As I mentioned, less than a week to go until it all starts for real. How important that he's able to get some of those big names back in advance of that first league encounter?
Yeah, I don't think it's ideal. The fact that we've had two major tournaments in terms of the Euros, the Copa America, and we've had a lot of players involved in those tournaments, progressed really well in them, but then it just disrupts the pre-season. And when you have a new manager, a new coach come into a football club, he wants to implement his own ideas. We've seen that in the pre-season games so far. And the players who've been away on those international games haven't really had chance to really develop an understanding and learn what's going to be required for a long, long season. So, yes, they've been back a week. This is the first chance we're going to get to see a number of them. And then it all starts next weekend. So it's not a great deal of time for those players who've been away to understand what is expected and maybe what's slightly different to what was previous with Jurgen Klopp. But the top players, they're all fit. It's not a case of going away for 4 or 5 weeks and not doing anything. We've seen they've all been keeping themselves ticking over, so they've been in a relatively good condition. But playing games is where you need that sharpness.
How difficult is it when you're a top player, Gary, to adjust to different...
What are you asking me for?
to adjust to different ways of playing, even though ostensibly maybe it's very similar, but with those sort of slight nuances, slightly different positions on the field, maybe higher up the field, different positions at different moments within a game.
Well, I think that is the hard thing. I think especially because all the players that are coming back are a little bit undercooked. Neil makes a good point. Fitness-wise, I don't think they'll have a problem. But the undercooking is the fact that they've not really been integrated into this new style that the manager wants to play. So I think that is slightly a problem. It's never an ideal situation when you have a Euros or a World Cup and coming back, especially having a new manager. So I think that might be a slight problem. But in saying that, I think it'll be a case that they'll be working on that in the training ground. And listen, when you're a world-class player, you do adapt quickly, but these players will have to adapt quickly. The youngsters and all the guys that have been here for like 3 or 4 weeks have bought into it very well. It's whether these senior players coming back for their first game today buy into it as well as what these youngsters have.
Who are you keen to see sort of first hand here today, Neil? Who do you really want to see kind of up to speed and try and get a grip of things ahead of that first fixture?
Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think he's an incredible talent. I think he was one of the players who was maybe underused with international duty. Incredible as it is, it wasn't used by England enough. But he's one of 5 players starting there today, and you're thinking he was so influential under Jurgen Klopp. How will it change under this new coach? Will it change? Now, we've seen in pre-season, the first few games that we've seen, a new sort of style. I think that'll suit Trent because he's a player who likes to get into areas to make things happen, but he'll have the added security of 2 defensive midfield players. Rather than it being one, and all of a sudden we're a little bit more vulnerable to the counter-attack, I think having someone like Trent on the ball and 2 defensive midfield players gives us that little bit of insurance to protect us more from the counter-attack, which at times we looked a little bit vulnerable from last season. So I can't wait to watch Trent in action
I think
today.
it'll be interesting. We saw last season on numerous occasions that Trent fulfilled that kind of false central midfield position. From a right-back position, he went in there and created an extra man. Now, if he does that under this new manager, then I think it'll be overcrowded in the middle of the park because you've already got 2 players in there. So it might be a case that Trent will have to stay a little bit wider. I think when we saw the games again in the 3 pre-season games we've seen so far, Conor Bradley did exceptionally well. So this is probably, I'm not saying the first time Trent's under a little bit of pressure, but Conor Bradley is pushing him all the way for a starting position against Ipswich next week. I'm absolutely positive of that.
Yeah, such a strong season last season for Conor Bradley when he really broke into the team late on in 2023. In terms of that central midfield, though, Gary's mentioned maybe 2 sitters, perhaps more than we saw under Jurgen. But it's also interesting to see who he plays there. We've seen Curtis Jones play there in pre-season, Dominic Szoboszlai's played there, Gravenberch's played deeper at one point, but of course you had Alexis McAllister, who's more often than not the 6 last season.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're looking at the starting 3 today, we're not sure who's going to be the furthest forward. What we do know is what we've seen in the previous games. There will be 2 defensive midfield players. Ryan Gravenberch has played that role against Manchester United, so we know that he's capable of playing there. We know that Szoboszlai as well, who we maybe would think of as a more advanced midfielder, has played in that deeper role at times in pre-season. And McAllister is a player who can play as a 6, he can play as an 8, he can play as a 10. McAllister is such a clever football player. It's difficult to know where they'll start today, but there's flexibility there. We might see them drop deeper, Szoboszlai go further forward, and likewise roles reversed there. We've seen Harvey Elliott really flourish pre-season starting as a 10. He's not involved for this first game, so whoever it is, McAllister or maybe Szoboszlai, how can they influence things further up in midfield?
Okay, well, it's a first experience of Anfield for Arne Slot. What's he thinking ahead of this match? Let's find out. He's speaking with Becky Davis.
Arne, obviously it's the final match day of pre-season. I know the results will be paramount for you today, but also you are about to get your first experience of managing here at Anfield. I imagine a day you've been really looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I look more forward to the Premier League than the friendly, but it's nice to be at Anfield for the first time. The weather helps today as well, so hopefully it's going to be a nice experience.
In terms of your preparation for today, obviously you've had a number of players return in the past week or so. How beneficial has that been, and how nice has it been to have everyone back together under one roof at last?
Yeah, that's what you want. You want all your players coming back and work with them. But when they were not there, we had the youngsters, and they had a really good impact as well. So, but happy to have them back now, only for 2 weeks before the season starts. So it's a lot of work to do within those 2 weeks, and I'm really interested to see how they play today.
And in terms of the games today, obviously you've got 2 games to manage today. So Sevilla first, it's a very strong lineup for that one. But talk us through your approach to looking at both games over the course of an afternoon. It's an unusual situation.
Yeah, I think we've got 2 strong lineups. Also in the second game we have a strong lineup. Today it's all about getting the players to 90 minutes, the ones that were with us in the USA tour and the ones that just came in. they have to play 60 to 70 minutes. So that's why you see today youngsters coming in for the senior players, and in the second game you will see that the other ones will play 60, 70 or even 90 minutes, so that they are all ready next week if we want to pick them, that they're all ready to play 90.
I think everyone is really looking forward to welcoming you, so enjoy it.
I will, thank you.
A special day for Arne Slot, his first match managing Liverpool here in front of the home crowd. He has some special players back at his disposal for it though. And Mohamed Salah, where do we think he is at going into this season? You know, maybe last season struggled a little bit after the injury. From what you've seen so far, does he look to be back to his best?
Yeah, I think so. He was Liverpool's best attacking player last season, no doubt about that, for goals, assists, chances created. He's a world-class player who missed games last season for the first time. He's been so consistent in terms of playing games, but he went away with the AFCON. He had that little bit of a hamstring injury. It hampered him a little bit. And the problem for Liverpool was when Salah wasn't playing, scoring, other players weren't. And so nobody really stepped up when Salah wasn't at his best. This pre-season, he's one of the few who's not had an international tournament. And I think that's where Liverpool benefit, but also Mo Salah. What's he turned? 32 in the summer. But he's such a professional that his age doesn't come into it, because he's still sharp, he's still got the pace to get in behind defences, and he's got that ability to make things happen. So I think Liverpool will really benefit from the start of the season having Mo Salah so sharp, and one of the few players that didn't have a big tournament.
Yeah, I slightly disagree with Neil there, because players did stand up when Salah was away for the AFCON Nations. Players did stand up. They scored an awful lot of goals without Mohamed Salah. The one thing I would say about Mohamed Salah, he's looked really, really sharp in pre-season. He looks back to his lively best, to be quite honest with you. And there is no doubt, you cannot take away from the stats that he has playing for Liverpool. The amount of goals that he scores, the amount of chances he creates is second to none. And that's what you want from a forward player. But in saying that, as I say, I slightly disagree with Neil that players did stand up and score a lot of goals when he was away. In fact, I think they scored 20 odd goals in about the space of 10 games or something like that.
Maybe,
first game they're at it, first game.
I think it may be referencing to the end of the season.
The end of the season, I'll give you that.
When sort of Salah wasn't hitting the numbers previously, you know, Diaz didn't score in 10, Núñez similar, Gakpo got a couple, so you're thinking that's when you're wanting the players to step up. So not the AFCON, end of the season.
Luis Diaz has had the summer tournament. Will that weigh heavy in his legs? Can he take something from the fact that Colombia did well, albeit they did not win eventually?
No, I think all these players are used to all the international fixtures and what have you. I don't think that'll have certainly not at the beginning of the season. It might be a case come Christmas or just after Christmas, when the workload is really put upon these players, like December through to January. I think that's a heavy workload. But that's why you have big squads, and I'm sure that the manager and the coaching staff and the recruitment are looking for new players to come in as well. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens as well. But I don't think that'll be a problem at the beginning of the season, and I think the squad is strong enough to cover anybody that has a little bit of a blimp and a little bit drop in form and fitness.
Okay, one player who's played consistently and played well consistently through pre-season so far is Kostas Tsimikas. We can hear from him now. He is with Becky.
Kostas, it's been a really exciting pre-season so far, but I think this is the one you all really look forward to, isn't it? Being back here at home at Anfield against some quality opposition today as well.
Yeah, of course. I think we miss all this feeling, to play with in front of our fans. It's the last pre-season game for us, and we want to continue the winning with the winning ways, and we just want to do what we train all these weeks with the new manager. So yeah, I think it will be a very good game.
Yeah, I was going to say pre-season has obviously by and large been a massive success, hasn't it? Is today about building on that momentum, taking that into the new season, obviously with the addition of the new players who've come back as well this week?
Yeah, of course, the players came back not that long time, but everybody trained hard in this pre-season. I think we want to end up the friendly games by winning. I think it's important in the pre-season games just to give everything to do inside the pitch, the new ideas, and to win the games. We did so far all these kind of things we learn, and today is one more game.
Finally for yourself, obviously a lot of minutes this pre-season. How much are you enjoying a new regime, I guess, and the impact the new boss has had here so far?
Yeah, I really enjoy. I was looking forward to work with the new manager, to learn more things. I really enjoy the way we play. I'm always hungry for more. I think everybody knows that. And still big room for improvement. And yeah, I've just wanted to play as many games as I can and to give my best.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Okay, just a reminder that both of today's matches against Sevilla and Las Palmas are live on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. If anyone watching this on social media, you can find details of how to become a subscriber online at video.liverpoolfc.com. Let's give you a run through of both the starting 11s for this first game then against Sevilla. We'll start with the host Liverpool. It's Alisson Becker in goal. Back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jarell Quansah, Virgil van Dijk and Kostas Tsimikas. Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch will be the three in midfield. And then Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz as the front three. As for the visitors, well, Sevilla, they arrive here with a new man at the helm in Garcia Piamentia. He took over this summer as the club looked to halt their slide in recent years. They finished 14th last season, 12th the season before that, and that followed three successive fourth-place finishes. Their team today is Oyen Nyland in goal. Back three potentially of Adria Pedrosa, Tanga Nyanzu and Ramon Martinez-Hill. Sol Nugueth, Lucien Agume, Alberto Calada and Dario Benavides will be the four in midfield, with Suso, formerly of Liverpool, where he made 21 appearances, Kelechi Iheanacho, formerly of Leicester and Manchester City, and Stanis Adumbo as the front three. Yeah, some guys we know in the Sevilla side, but a Sevilla team, as I mentioned, that have struggled in recent seasons and are not the force they once were. They were consistently a Champions League side for so many seasons, not the case these days.
Or winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of Sevilla and you think of a side who have done really well in European football. They're not even in Europe this year. It shows where they are at currently. They had a lot of problems last season. 3 different coaches were all in charge at various times last season. So a lot of disruption there. You're looking at the starting lineup and a few names which might stand out. They've lost the top scorer. He got 20 goals for them last year. He's moved on. So the players who maybe are more familiar to us, certainly from a Premier League, you've got the goalkeeper who played for Villa, Nyland. They lost Sergio Ramos as well. We remember him at Real Madrid. He was at Sevilla last season. Who else is in there? Sal Niguez, remember him? A little loan spell at Chelsea.
Not a very good loan spell at Chelsea.
He was linked to here, but he never came. Who
Tends
else?
to happen, that, doesn't it?
Suso, who obviously was a young player at Liverpool, really liked watching him. Didn't really establish himself, but did at AC Milan. So he's a captain. He'll be an important player. And Iheanacho, who was at Leicester and Man City as well. So they're the main players that a lot of Liverpool fans will be aware of.
What do you want to see today, Gary, across these 2 games with the season so close?
Well, I want to see the players that have obviously just come back integrated into the system that the manager wants to play. As I said before, I don't think the fitness should be an issue with them, but integrating them into the way that his style is could be a slight problem in their first game. And I think when you think that there's only a week to go before the first league game of the season, it's not a lot of time to really get them sorted. But as I say, they are highly tuned international players, and they're all very, very technically gifted footballers. So hopefully it won't be a problem. But it does give them a little bit of time, a little bit of game time, and get a game time under their belt, which I think they'll need before, if any of them, which you'd expect, quite a few of them to start next week.
And if you're a player, go out and make the most of this game, the one in front of the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd be absolutely delighted to be back here at Anfield. It was a fortress last season. We only lost one game, didn't we? We'll be wanting the same again. And as Gary mentions, the big thing is integrating the 5 players who've been away on international duty. How do they come in and understand what's expected of them? Because it will be different.
Okay, guys, we'll pause things just there. When we come back, all the action is live as Liverpool take on Sevilla. Full commentary if you're with us on Go and LFC TV. And Peter McDowell and Ray Houghton. Enjoy the game. Goodbye.
This is the first public showing of Liverpool under Arne Slot. It's Salah. Szoboszlai, there you go. Lovely finish. It's a lovely ball. And Salah from Harvey Elliott runs in on goal and scores wonderfully well. It's almost like great feet in the tight area, and that's a Fabio Carvalho. That is absolutely special. Odegaard, that's a lovely piece of skill, and the touch in. Carvalho, lovely skill, and scores! Salah, lovely piece of skill, and his ball delivered is absolutely sumptuous. Here's Bradley, now Salah, onto Bradley, lovely play from Liverpool. Onana saves it, but it's in this time. They were positive throughout, they were potent throughout, and they were rewarded with some really good goals.
Watch every pre-season game live.
Everything LFC all in one place.
We'll go for 6. This is Sunderland. 4. This one is a special one. I get the 5th. That's my favorite one. So because it's my favorite one, I go to this is the first one. I say 6 before, right? 7. 3. Okay, for the 8 was very important and special, but oh, I didn't remember that one. I have to go for the 9. Yes. The good one of this goal is the assist, so this is the 10th. Credit to Stevie. I did nothing, I didn't touch the ball. And the second one, for many people is the best, but it was a great goal. But I don't know why Arsenal goal was my favorite, so this goes to the second.